Hello, and welcome to our Navigating Market Uncertainty webinar. I'm Paul Plettigad, Head of Asset Management Products at FE Fund Info. In this session, we'll explore how asset managers are navigating a perfect storm of margin pressure, operational strain, and rising investor expectations, and how the smartest firms are using this moment to transform their operations and unlock competitive advantage. This is about moving from reactive cost-cutting to building a scalable, resilient, future-ready model. Here's a quick look at what we'll cover today. We'll start with the market context shaping 2025, then we'll unpack why efficiency has become the number one strategic priority, not just for survival, but for growth. We'll talk through consolidation, automation, AI readiness, and how regulation is becoming a driver of innovation. And we'll close with actionable steps and a real-world transformation story. For market context, we'll look at the macroeconomic and regulatory pressures shaping 2025. The efficiency imperative, why costs and complexity are forcing firms to rethink operations. Efficiency as a growth lever, how leaner models are enabling faster innovation and client centricity. Strategic consolidation, using MI and vendor consolidation to build scalable foundations. Automating the fund lifecycle from RPA to AI, eliminating manual bottlenecks for speed and accuracy. The data foundation of AI, unlocking transformation through unified high-quality data. Regulatory readiness and resilience, staying ahead of ESG, consumer duty, and AI rules with embedded compliance, and building a future-proof model, key recommendations and a real-world case study with measurable ROI. As we look at the current market landscape, it's clear that asset managers are under pressure from multiple interconnecting forces, and 2025 is no exception. Let's break these down. First, market headwinds. We're still seeing persistent macroeconomic volatility. Inflation has proven more stubborn than expected, interest rates remain high, and geopolitical tensions continue to inject uncertainty into global markets. The result? Market performance is unpredictable and increasingly disconnected from investor flows. Second, margin squeeze. Firms are facing intensified cost pressure. Investor expectations of lower fees combined with rising regulatory and tech infrastructure costs are compressing margins across the board. In fact, over 70% of 2024's revenue growth came from market performance, not from new client inflows. That's a red flag for long-term sustainability. Third, operational strain. The complexity of managing cross-border products, increased regulatory reporting requirements, and outdated or fragmented systems is placing a growing burden on operations teams. Many are at capacity or relying on inefficient manual processes that just aren't scalable. And finally, investor expectations. Clients today want more than performance. They expect speed, transparency, tailored reporting, and a seamless digital experience. They expect it delivered consistently across jurisdiction, channels, and asset classes. Together, these forces are reshaping the competitive landscape. The firms that succeed in this environment will be those that shift from reactive cost-cutting to proactive operational transformation, building the resilience needed not just to survive, but to lead. So the big question for firms is this: how do we stay profitable and responsive while costs and complexity are rising? The answer increasingly lies in rethinking the operating model itself. If the last few years have taught us anything, it's that operational efficiency is no longer a nice to have. It's become an absolute strategic priority. Let's start with why. Margin pressures have hit breaking point. Costs are rising from regulatory compliance to IT infrastructure to talent retention, while fee income is under sustained pressure. Asset managers can no longer afford inefficiency. Cost-cutting and complexity is now mission critical. Second, legacy fragmentation continues to drain resources. Many firms still operate with disjointed systems, regional variations in processes, and too many vendors. This slow decision-making introduces risk, eats away at profitability. The leading firms are responding by re-engineering operations, centralizing workflows, streamlining teams, and removing duplication. Lean, standardized processes aren't a luxury. They're a survival strategy. And third, cost discipline is a differentiator. It's not just about reducing spend, it's about building an operation that can scale without adding cost, that creates competitive edge. It's what allows firms to move faster, serve clients better, and reinvest in innovation and growth. We're seeing this reflected in industry data too. 77% of large asset managers, those with more than 200 billion in AUM, are actively pursuing cost optimizations in operations. In contrast, only 47% of the smaller firms are taking the same action. This gap matters because in tough markets, operational strength is now a competitive advantage. The firms that get lean now are those best positioned to grow later. In this environment, operational efficiency is no longer optional, it's strategic. Legacy infrastructure, disjointed data flows, and manual workflows simply aren't built to scale or adapt. Efficiency is now the key enabler, and not just of scale, but of resilience. One of the most important mindset shifts we're seeing across the industry is this. Efficiency is no longer just a cost control mechanism, it's a growth strategy. Let's explore how that plays out in practice. First is a shift from defense to offense, where efficiency once meant cutting back, now it's about freeing up capacity, both financial and operational, to invest in innovation, expansion, and client experience. In tough markets, efficiency becomes the engine that funds future success. Secondly, operations become a growth enabler. When firms modernize their infrastructure and compliance workflows, they stop being a bottleneck. Instead, they become launchpads for faster product deployment, better client engagement, and smarter scaling. Your ops shouldn't slow you down, they should move you forward. Third, it frees up resources for innovation. When manual tasks are automated, your team's time and budget can be reallocated to strategic initiatives, like entering new markets, upgrading your tech stack, or launching ESG-aligned products. That's how efficiency creates agility. Fourth, it accelerates time to market. Efficient firms can bring new funds, share classes, or features to the market in weeks, not months. That means you can seize emerging opportunities while competitors are still caught in their manual cycles. And finally, it drives better client outcomes. With automation taking care of repetitive tasks, your people can spend more time focusing on what really matters, their clients' needs. That translates to stronger relationships, improved retention, and a better overall customer experience, all of which are essential in a fee-sensitive, high-expectation environment. The bottom line, efficiency doesn't just protect your margin, it powers your growth. One of the biggest levers for driving scalable efficiency today is consolidation, whether that's through M&A, outsourcing, or vendor rationalization. Let's start with the bigger picture. 2024 saw record-breaking M&A in asset management. In fact, Q4 alone delivered the highest volume of deals the industry has ever recorded. Why? Because firms are looking for ways to expand capabilities, access new markets, and achieve operational leverage faster than they could build it organically. Larger firms are reaping clear cost per AUM advantages by consolidating technology stacks, vendor relationships, and internal operations. They're running leaner and reinvesting the savings into growth and innovation. And acquisitions are not just about scale, they're about acceleration. They give firms instant access to infrastructure, distribution networks, product capabilities, or tech integrations that would otherwise take years to develop. In today's competitive environment, speed matters. It's also worth noting investor behavior. Institutional allocators and large wealth platforms increasingly favor managers with global reach and a full product breadth. In other words, scale isn't just a strategic ambition, it's a commercial advantage when raising and retaining assets. But even without formal M&A, the efficiency gains are significant. Operational consolidation, even just through vendor rationalization and outsourcing, can deliver at minimum 20% cost savings. That's before you even consider the added benefits of faster onboarding, improved data quality, reduced vendor risk. The message is clear. Whether through acquisition or internal restructuring, consolidation is becoming a critical part of the operational playbook for firms who want to scale efficiently, not just grow bigger. While consolidation and transformation take time to fully deliver ROI, there's one lever firms can pull today, and that's automation. Across the entire fund lifecycle, from initial setup and onboarding to data management, compliance, and distribution, too many firms still rely on manual, labor-intensive workflows, spreadsheets, emails, repeated reconciliations. All of these slow down and reduce risk. Let me give you a typical example. Something as straightforward as producing a fund fact sheet or a PRIPS KID can involve pulling data from 4 or 5 different systems, checking for consistency, formatting it manually, and then pushing that content out across multiple channels. Not only does that burn time, it introduces error. One mistake in a number or a date can propagate all the way to the investors or regulators, and in a compliance-driven environment, that's unacceptable. But there's a better way. Firms using automated data platforms and workflow tools are moving to a model where you can collect once and distribute everywhere. Instead of rekeying information, they're relying on automation to generate documents, push updates, and manage distribution, all with minimal human touchpoints. This shift delivers 2 major benefits. One is cost saving, where fewer human hours are wasted on repetitive tasks, and the other is agility, faster reporting cycles, quicker fund launches, and better responsiveness to changes in regulation or data. And the technology has matured. Robotic process automation, or RPA, is now widely used for repetitive data tasks. The next frontier is AI, being applied to data normalization, document generation, anomaly detection, and even client communications. Finally, automation enables scale. A process that's 90% automated doesn't just become cheaper, it becomes repeatable. As AUM grows or product lines expand, your unit cost goes down, not up. This is how some of the industry's most efficient firms are pulling ahead, not through sheer size, but by building smart operations. As we look to the future of operational transformation, one truth is becoming clear. AI will play a central role. But there's a critical caveat. AI is only as good as the data behind it. That brings us to a fundamental challenge in our industry. Data silos and inconsistencies are still widespread. Over time, many firms have developed multiple systems for managing product data, regulatory documents, client records, and reporting outputs, often inherited through legacy tech or acquisition. This fragmentation makes it nearly impossible to scale automation, let alone empower AI-driven decision-making. That's why the shift is now toward unifying data into a single source of truth. A centralized, validated dataset ensures that every function, from marketing and compliance to operations and distribution, works in the same version of reality. It's not just about accuracy, it's about creating a foundation that enables you to scale confidently and respond faster to both regulatory and market demands. And the benefits are real. According to BNY Mellon, 67% of asset managers say they're already using AI or machine learning to drive change in their business. But the firms seeing the greatest ROI are the ones who've invested first in data quality and governance. At FE Fund Info, we see this firsthand. Nexus for Asset Managers provides that golden source of truth for fund data, continuously validated, enriched, and distributed across every downstream use, from fact sheets and kits to client portals and third-party platforms. That level of data integrity not only improves compliance and speed, it becomes a competitive advantage. Because when others are still wrangling spreadsheets, your firm is running insight-driven processes, automating documentation, and empowering advisors and investors with timely, trusted data. In short, if AI readiness is your goal, data quality is your starting line. Regulation has always been a fact of life in asset management, but today it's a fast-moving target. From ESG disclosure under SFDR to new investor protections like Consumer Duty to emerging frameworks around AI oversight, regulations are evolving across all jurisdictions, often simultaneously. For many firms, this creates confusion, resource strain, and compliance risk. But it doesn't have to be that way. The most forward-thinking asset managers are treating regulation not as a reactive burden, but as a strategic opportunity. The first step is embedding compliance into operations. Rather than responding manually to each new rule, they're automating disclosure workflows, enabling systems to auto-prompt regulatory steps during fund setup, and using centralized platforms to handle multi-jurisdictional filings. This isn't just more efficient, it ensures consistency and auditability across markets. Second, standardization is a game changer. By unifying their data, integrating regulatory rule changes quickly, firms are turning compliance into a source of confidence for clients, regulators, and internal teams. In effect, compliance becomes a competitive strength. It means fewer fire drills, better investor communication, and the ability to respond to new rules with agility, not anxiety. And the outcome? Firms gain more freedom to focus on innovation and growth, instead of being bogged down in catch-up mode. By fortifying their systems and plans now, asset managers can turn compliance into strength, reducing uncertainty and allowing greater focus on growth. That's the opportunity in front of us. So what does a future-ready operating model really look like? It's not a one-off system change or isolated cost-cutting initiative. It's a strategic shift in how your organization operates, integrates, and scales. Let's walk through 5 critical moves firms are making today to build resilience and agility. First, integration and streamlining. Breaking down operational silos between front, middle, and back office. Many asset managers are consolidating systems into a single central hub, often with a platform approach, so every function can scale without added complexity or manual workarounds. Second, building a data-centric foundation. AI starts with clean data. That means making single source of truth data modules a priority, with unified access across compliance, marketing, product, and distribution teams. Firms that get this right are ready to automate, report, and innovate faster. Third, embedding compliance into the day-to-day. It's not enough to react to regulation, you need to proactively systemize it. Horizon scanning tools, automated KID PRIPS generation, centralized filing, these make complaints part of the workflow, not a last-minute scramble. Fourth, leverage partners to accelerate. You don't have to go it alone. Working with providers like FE Fund Info gives firms immediate access to validated fund data, automated reporting, global dissemination networks, and up-to-date regulatory templates. This isn't outsourcing, it's smart scaling. And finally, the real-world payoff. Let me share a case study. A global investor we work with 700 billion assets under management, adopted FE Fund Info's Nexus platform across their operations. Within the first 12 months, they saw a 60% operational efficiency, thousands of hours of staff hours saved, regulatory errors dramatically reduced, and faster fund launches, all with projected savings in the millions over 5 years. This isn't theoretical, it's measurable transformation. And that's the opportunity for every firm today, to move from fragmented, reactive operations to scalable, integrated, and future-proof models that fuel growth. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a clear message. You don't need to tackle this complexity alone. Whether your priorities lie in automation, compliance, data integration, or operational conservation, we're here to help. FE Fund Info's Nexus Asset Management platform has been purpose-built to support firms like yours. It's a modular, end-to-end solution designed to centralize your fund data across the lifecycle, automate document production and distribution, ensure compliance with ever-changing regulation, drive operational efficiency that reduces cost and risk, and most importantly, helps you scale without complexity. We've helped leading global asset managers save millions in cost and thousands of hours of manual effort, while improving accuracy, speed, and regulatory confidence. So what's next? Let's map out your efficiency plan, tailored to your business priorities, growth goals, and regulatory landscape. Simply get in touch to schedule a discovery session with our team. We'll walk you through where the biggest gains can be made and how quickly you can unlock them. Because in this market, operational resilience isn't just about survival, it's a foundation for confident, future-facing growth. Thank you again for joining us today.